Cassian stared at the glowing screen in front of him. His silver eyes narrowed in suspicion. "It's called a television," Elara explained, flipping through the channels. Bright colors flashed, and Cassian flinched when a man on the screen shouted something about a limited-time sale on vacuum cleaners. "What kind of sorcery is this?" Cassian muttered. "This box holds moving images." Elara tried not to laugh. "It's not sorcery. It's technology. You have a lot to catch up on." Cassian rubbed his temples. He had woken up in a world nothing like the one he left behind. No horses, no candlelit streets, only glowing screens, metal carriages, and people constantly staring at tiny rectangles in their hands. Everything was loud, fast, and unfamiliar, and worst of all, he had no place in it. "I don't belong here," Cassian finally said, his voice quieter than before. Elara's teasing smile faded. She reached over, resting a hand on his. "Maybe not yet, but you will." Cassian looked at her, this woman who had risked everything for him, and somehow, deep inside, he knew she was right. He just had to find his place. Not knowing what else to do, Elara took Cassian to the Silverwood Archives, a hidden library filled with ancient texts, lost knowledge, and historians who never quite fit into the modern world. Professor Alden Graves, a man with sharp blue eyes and too many secrets, listened intently as Cassian explained his curse. "This is unprecedented," Graves muttered, flipping through a dusty tome. "You were trapped for nearly 3 centuries, and yet you have not aged." Cassian's jaw tightened. "I lost everything. My kingdom, my people, my time." The professor nodded gravely. "And yet, I fear your story is not over." He turned the book toward them. Elara gasped. There in ink that was far too fresh to be from Cassian's era were the words, "The prince shall rise, and the order shall follow." Elara met Cassian's gaze. "What does that mean?" Graves shut the book, his expression unreadable. "It means that someone knew you would return." As Cassian adjusted to the modern world, strange things began to happen. The first incident was Minera's shadowy figure watching them from across the street. The second was more direct, a letter slipped under their door, marked only with an ancient symbol. But the third, that nearly cost them their lives. One evening as they walked through a quiet alley, a hooded figure emerged from the darkness. "You should not be here," the man hissed. Cassian instinctively stepped in front of Elara, his stance protective. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a silver dagger from his cloak, one engraved with the same sigil from the book in Silverwood. "The Order of Eterna does not allow loose ends," the stranger whispered, and then he attacked. Cassian moved before he could think. The instincts of a warrior buried beneath centuries of stillness roared back to life. He dodged the first strike, twisting the attacker's arm, forcing the dagger to clatter to the ground. But the man was fast, skilled, and relentless. Elara scrambled backward, heart racing. Cassian blocked another strike, countering with a blow that sent the man crashing against the alley wall. For a moment there was silence. Then, with a final snarl, the attacker vanished into the night. Cassian turned to Elara, breathless. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, but her hands were still trembling. "What the hell was that?" Cassian picked up the fallen dagger, studying the symbol carved into its blade. His expression darkened. A warning. After the attack, Cassian and Elara knew one thing. They were no longer safe. The world might have changed, but Cassian's past still had a grip on him. And the Order of Eterna, whoever they were, wanted something from him. But Cassian refused to live in fear. "I will not spend my second chance hiding," he told Elara one night. "If there is a threat in this world, I will face it." Elara, despite her worries, smiled. "Then I guess you're officially part of the modern world now, because nothing says welcome to the 21st century like people trying to kill you." Cassian chuckled, shaking his head. "Then let him come." He took her hand in his grip strong and steady, because for the first time in centuries, Cassian Montclair was not lost. He had a reason to fight, he had a future to protect, and he had someone to share it with. Together, they would uncover the truth, no matter what it took, the end or the beginning.